Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be talking Cardano, some interesting news, some interesting developments with price, and I think we're going to be for an interesting couple of days with Cardano's ADA. So as we get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord guys, what are you waiting for? Check it out. The link for that is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's waste no more time. Let's jump on down into the world of Cardano, starting things off with the 1 hour time frame. So following on from what we were talking about yesterday, we kind of hit our C wave low target range. We did actually wick up just a fraction higher there. I said this is something that we could potentially see. It's nothing too alarming. Let's tidy some of that out there, and then we moved on down. Let's go ahead and do our sense checks because we do want to just see where things finally did land. Are they right within where you would expect them to? Yep, right between the 1 and the 1.236. So absolutely everything as per usual. Now, nothing too alarming with that. We can see here that we did come down a little bit deeper here, and so we could potentially look at this as a potential WXYXZ or diagonal based pattern here unfolding, but for now we don't have to worry about it too much, which is good. So let's bring this down into a 15-minute time frame here, just briefly, because we are looking at a brief drop here. I think it's going to be brief. I'm not looking for the low to get broken at this point, but we are looking at this rejection on a 15-minute 200 EMA and the rejection on the 15-minute 100 EMA. Or 50 EMA, sorry, and we're just looking at pulling back down. This is something that we are aligned here, as you can kind of see, getting rejected on the 50 EMA on the hourly, which is now below the 200 hourly EMA, and the price is below both of those. So essentially, it is in a bearish little play here, but I'm looking for it to come down, but not come down lower than the local low at 29.5 cent, right? So it's possible that it does, but I'm not looking for it to. I don't think we need it to go down there. Essentially, what I'm looking for is a three-wave corrective pattern to the upside and a little bit of a move down maybe towards 29.566, so let's say, and then a break upwards. This break upwards, I think, is either going to turn into an impulsive structure where we then start to talk about moving back up into this ranging market, or we from here it stunts out at a three-wave pattern and then we just drop on down into the equilibrium range, okay? So it's not looking overly strong on the hourly chart. We're overbought on the hourly, but the 4 hourly is actually not too bad. The 4 hourly is actually in an oversold status. So this is why I think we're likely to see a surge upwards above the 200 EMA on the hourly chart eventually. I think we just need to kind of cool off a little bit and then move on up, because I do think we're likely to see that. And if we do get an impulsive break here, then we'll be testing the high range of 30 cent again, and we'll see how that kind of plays out. So 30.25 will be the interesting point for ADA on the hourly chart. Other than that, there isn't terribly too much more to kind of reflect on here for ADA's price action. We're still technically in a bullish structure on our hourly chart. We had our change of character here, but we haven't got confirmation of this. We're only going to get confirmation of this when we break up higher and we actually break above or create a break of structure from this current continuation pattern that you see here on the hourly chart. Now, I'm quite confident looking at our structure here that this is a continuation pattern, that we are likely to see a massive break to the upside. So like I say, I would be looking for that impulsive break. Ultimately, equilibrium will be a nice clean area for us to kind of retrace to beforehand, but it's going to be an interesting one nonetheless, okay? So on our hourly chart, expect some volatility here. It's still very early as to know whether or not we are going to be getting this break upwards sooner rather than later. So we need to get a few more candles in. Hopefully tomorrow, for tomorrow's update, we'll have a bit more information on the hourly chart to give us that indication. So just keep a close eye on it. Ultimately, I would like us to come down to 29.1 to 29.2 because that would actually give us a nice retest of this previous area so that we can then start to talk about a bit of a move up. Ultimately, I think we are going to be looking for a break upwards. We are looking to go above 30 cent, but we need to kind of find a good entry point if we wanted to trade it, which I'll talk more about later on in the video. So moving over into the daily time frame, you can see here that we're in the lower the lower highs and the lower lows, and these will have a break upwards. So like I say, I'm talking about that break up as a bit of a continuation before we then break on down. Ultimately, we are looking for negative price action on ADA. This isn't anything against Cardano. I do think that Cardano is going to be incredibly successful in the future. However, the data is the data, and the data suggests to us that we need to kind of be preparing ourselves for some short-term price action to the downside before we can start really getting into those juicy long moves where we see some really good, fantastic gains to the upside. At the moment, we are below the 50 EMA, which is also below the 200 EMA on the daily time frame. These two things combined, not only are they bearish in the way that the short-term price action is below the longer-term price action, but historically speaking, from a traditional analytical point of view, the 200 EMA is a trend filter. If you're below it, you should be bearish, and if you're above it, you should be bullish, right? It's kind of one of the fundamental basics. So when we start reflecting on the fact that the 50 EMA is below the 200 EMA and the price is below the 50 EMA, then actually things are not looking overly strong at this daily level, right? Now, we do have the potential for a break upwards, as I said, not expecting that to happen just yet, but we are looking for a break upwards. And then I think from here, we'll be looking at further downside, okay? This move to the downside, I think, will be significant, but it won't be a new lower low initially. Okay, I do suspect that we do have to have new lower lows, and in fact for that, let's go over and jump into our weekly time frame, because we have good areas down here. I spoke about this yesterday at 15 to 18 cent, right? The 15 to 18 cent is a nice Z wave low. It's within a 3-wave pattern of here, so A, B, and C, right, gets us right into that little range, 15 to 18 cent. And that basically will complete out a Z wave pattern that you see down here. Okay, this Z wave here. Okay, the Z wave in itself should actually be much wider. It should be potentially down as low as 7.98 cent to 19.25 cent. But I actually suspect that we're actually going to land and finish between 15 and 18 cent. Okay, that area is also of interest because it was previous resistance that can now turn into support. Okay, so 15 to 18 cent is where I think our next kind of major stopping point is going to be. It's going to take some time. It's going to take several months to get down there, but that's kind of where I think things are likely to go. Okay, so whether that's a Fed pivot or some really big negative news, maybe spot ETFs don't get approved, for example, maybe they get rejected initially, housing crisis, bank crisis, whatever it may be, right? Essentially, I suspect that we're going to come down to 15 to 18 cent. This is going to be the bear market low, and I think this is where we get that long-term reversal. Obviously, I spoke about this previously with the potential for really good, nice gains up towards the $26 to $90 range. You can see it right up there. It takes a fair bit to kind of get there, but we have got good catalyst for change coming, of which though, guys, let's actually jump into some of that, right? So data and news elements, right, outside of the price chart. And we'll start things off with the data side. So membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗖𝗎 linked in the description below is our membership website, and some of our members have access to the exclusive data and analysis area, right? So not all plans include this. You can add them at checkout if you wanted to, or you can just get access to absolutely everything that we have to offer, right? There's a 7-day free trial, so why not check that out? But if we come over to the data zone, go over to the Cardano data, we load up all the on-chain data for Cardano. So here we can see the overarching stats. We have 35 billion in circulating supply, 35 billion coins, tokens, all-time high at $3.09 USD. We have 708 days since its all-time high. We're currently 90% down from its all-time high, right? And I want to reflect on this just for a moment, because a lot of people who are new to the space look at the price chart and don't reflect on the bigger zoomed out view. Instead, just reflect on, let's say, the last 180 days or the last 300 days, where it's basically been, in a bear market and it's been aggressively going down. It's 90% down from its all-time high, and people turn around and say it's a dead project. It's got nothing going for it. Look at the price action. It's just going down and down. It looks dead to me, right? And that's not taking a look at Cardano in any reasonable light whatsoever, right? The price action is one thing, but it is not what Cardano is, right? The price action of ADA is completely independent to the fantastic work that is going on at Cardano. We have to kind of take these things in segments, right? The price action is not a reflection of how good or bad a project is necessarily. Okay, there are some ways that you can kind of say that yes, those things kind of relate to each other, but for the most part, they don't. The price action is usually independent of the success of the actual protocol. Now, there are, of course, a few links, which will be the supply-demand elements, right? If you build up some fantastic ecosystem, which has great utility, great use case, then there's going to be demand for that, and that's going to help you a little bit, right? But as Cardano is still growing, it is still launching, it's got 1,200 dApps being built at the moment on the ecosystem. We do see some other fantastic things like total value locked growing, for example, and things like this. So 90% down is actually an opportunity, not a the project is dead kind of scenario. This is it's now 90% and it has insane future potential, right? And I'm going to get into some of those things in this video. Okay, so outside of the data here, I don't want to talk about this all the time. You can obviously check out the website if you want, but let's go and start things off here. Major US bank makes wave in crypto space, reveals significant holdings of Cardano and Dogecoin in Q2 report. So basically, the SoFi Bank, or SoFi Bank's Q2 report showcases holdings of $4.53 million in ADA and $4.95 million in Dogecoin. The bank has diversified its crypto assets with notable holdings in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other top cryptocurrencies, right? And so what's really interesting about this is the actual report in itself. Okay, now here you can see that it has 6.2 million customers, and it revealed $82 million Bitcoin holding, right? So Bitcoin is up there at top spot, then Ethereum is in second, and then Cardano is in third, right? So Cardano is the third largest holding for this bank. But what gets really interesting is Dogecoin is in fourth position, and then underneath that is Solana. And then underneath Solana, you have Litecoin, followed by Ethereum Classic, and then others, right? So what's really notable here is that Cardano is above things like Solana and Litecoin, okay? Considering Solana was so heavily touted as something that was so much better than Cardano. It's the next best thing, right? Next best thing since sliced bread or whatever they were saying, right? And there was lots of hate campaigns against Cardano during the time of the previous bull market, where Solana was basically saying that basically Solana was the one to go for. Cardano's dead. Cardano's a ghost chain. Cardano this, Cardano that. Basically by Solana. That was kind of the narrative. Yeah, we can see that the big money is saying, actually, no, it's quite obvious that Cardano is the winner. You can't just flick a switch and turn it off in the same way that Solana has an on and off switch or constantly goes offline and all these kind of problems that they were having. That's not to say that Solana won't potentially be a really great protocol in the future, but it wasn't one that I was going to be heavily backing, considering it had a lot of VC backing behind it, which actually is something else that got noticed here as well, right? Cardano, this is how big money think. ADA is SoFi's third largest holding, purely on market cap, zero emissions, zero narrative chasing. They don't care what gurus say on X or what VCs owned media write about them. And Cardano don't give a damn about whether there's hate campaigns or not. They continue to build out for the future regardless, and that is something that you need to kind of take note of as well, and of which we are going to dump into a few more things, right? Outside of just this fantastic news, we can also see that there's a 49% surge in blockchain transactions when it comes to Cardano, which of course we can take a look at from our data here, where there are 60,000 transactions in the last 24 hours. Those 60,000 transactions only cost $6,820 to do, right? And that is quite astonishing in itself. So moving back here, we've seen a fantastic surge to the upside with the transactions for Cardano, 49% surge, peaking at 81% in May, reflecting improved data management, essentially. Of course, this doesn't end there as well. We also have the consensus protocol passes a peer review. This is to do with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗡 protocol, basically taking a look at this. And for those who do not know, it's an interoperable blockchain protocol focused on a connected, inclusive, and sustainable global economy. And they basically announced that they have peer-reviewed acceptance of its research on the consensus protocol of Cardano. So I think essentially this is fantastic stuff. You can see this occurring all over the space, and it just basically compounds what we already know, that Cardano is for the future, and it has some fantastic potential to do incredibly well at least in my opinion. This then takes us over into exchanges. So from exchanges, it's important that we understand that during bullish markets, it can be incredibly difficult to sell your cryptocurrency assets. And sometimes it's not as simple as just logging on to your favorite cryptocurrency exchange, because the exchange might be down because of just heavy load and they just can't deal with the volume of people trying to log on and sell. So it's important that you make sure that you sell or make sure that you have set up as many different cryptocurrency exchanges as possible. You might currently be thinking, I'm on Coinbase, I'm on Binance, I'm okay, I don't need any more. Well, I would say that actually you should probably check out 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. Linked in the description down below. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 has quickly become my go-to platform. Not only is it very easy to use, very intuitive, but it just is, in my opinion, just a little bit better to use than something like Coinbase. Coinbase recently removed Coinbase Pro, something that I was quite great on. I loved using it, and they've actually incorporated Coinbase Pro into something called Coinbase Advanced Trade instead in the platform, buried it deeper, and unfortunately when you just use Coinbase, the fees are very, very expensive. Coinbase Pro was much cheaper, and now they're kind of, unless you know about these things, they're quite difficult to use. Where 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, not so much. It's quite straightforward. It's quite easy. You've got spot, you've got futures. I do 90 to 95% of my spot trades on 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, and I do 100% of my leverage trades on 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 as well. Ultimately, I think you'll be very impressed by the platform, even if you just want to use it as a backup. The link for signing up to an account is in the description below. If you do use the affiliate link in the description, you will be eligible for up to $8,000 of rewards, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. And on that note, it's important that you do understand how to move money on and off of each platform that you set up. Do not just go randomly setting up accounts and never actually test out the inflows and the outflows from the exchanges. It's important that you work out how to do these things. Make sure and you test everything so you understand that when the time comes, you can just action. You don't have to worry about doing KYC, linking bank accounts, and having to wait several days to get verification or anything like that. You do it now in the bear market, you get everything set up, and you set yourself up for success in the future. So why not sign up to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘? Linked in the description down below. Honestly, guys, I don't think you'll regret it. But obviously, do make sure you're aware of all the risks associated with trading cryptocurrencies as well. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. All I can do is tell you how I do things. And personally, I have access to as many exchanges as I possibly can, with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 being my go-to platform. Let's move over into exchanges. We saw some interesting stuff yesterday. So we see 42% on a short on Bitcoin and a short on 𝗕𝗓 from our members. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see other opportunities. So on that note, let me actually bring this up, right? We can see here we had the 42% on Bitcoin shorts. We had a Shiba Inu 10% short as well. But if we actually jump down into the charts here, and let's actually take a look at some potential opportunities that I think are coming for Cardano, right? So as I was saying, we're looking for that long, but I don't think it's going to happen just yet. What I would be looking for is a potential move to the downside before we get that break. So we've got a couple of options here, okay, from a trading point of view. We could potentially look to go long on a really kind of short kind of move here. It would be high risk in my opinion in order to get a good risk reward ratio. Alternatively, we wait for this move upwards and then we short that market again. Okay, we'll put the stop loss somewhere nice and tight. Let's assume we come up towards our resistances approximately here. Okay, and then we'll look to come down towards equilibrium. This will be a good opportunity in my opinion, but we're a little bit too soon to kind of get involved. We'd have to see whether or not we get that three-wave breakup here up towards the like 29.89 and then look to short down towards the 29.2 with a good stop loss above our swing high at around 30.14, right? This approach to trading would allow us to basically take advantage of what I think is likely to occur with a move down towards equilibrium. Once we do this, I think there's a long opportunity, okay? So the opportunity to the downside is minimal. I think the main opportunity is going to be this one taking us up to the higher side. Okay, because this is the one where it's going to see really good significant gains in my opinion, because I do think we're going to be breaching up here quite significantly. Okay, so I think that's something we'll talk about at a later day. For now, the only opportunity I would be even remotely entertaining would be the idea of shorting the market only if we come up into a nice C-wave high where we see good structure to finishing this point off and then moving on down. And of course, you know, if we do end up going with an impulsive break here, then obviously we're not going to get that because we're going to see the 5-wave counts going on, and therefore will avoid going short on the market. So there's a few things on Cardano I would be a little bit cautious on. It's not the best place to be thinking about trading on ADA today, in my opinion, but we'll see how kind of time progresses. I think though, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. So if you have found this useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.